Sunrise echoes of Sunset Lane. It had been 10 years since Ayaan last saw Sunset Lane. He remembered it in pieces, golden skies that bled into the sea, the smell of jasmine in the breeze, and laughter that echoed between old houses. He was a different man now, older and tired, wearing the weight of ambition like a second skin. But one letter had undone it all, just 12 words scrawled in delicate handwriting. Sunset Lane still remembers you. I hope you still remember me. The sender had signed with only an initial, R. The letter had no return address, just a postmark from the coastal town of Dharmapur. Ayaan hadn't thought about Dharmapur in years. Not since he'd left for Mumbai, chasing a career in journalism, leaving behind old friendships, dreams, and her, Rhea. Back then, Rhea was the girl with ink-stained fingers and wind-blown hair. She wrote stories in margins of notebooks and spoke in metaphors that made no sense to anyone but him. They had fallen in love without realizing it, like the tide claiming the shore. But life was unkind. Ayaan's scholarship came, and the future called louder than any summer promise could whisper. He left, vowing to return. He never did. Now, curiosity and regret led him back. Dharmapur hadn't changed much. The streets were still lined with bougainvillea, the sea still hummed its ancient lullaby, and the old bookstore on Sunset Lane still leaned slightly to the left. Ayaan's heart thudded in his chest as he walked the path he thought he'd forgotten. At the corner of Sunset Lane stood Chapter and Chai, the bookstore cafe Rhea had always dreamed of opening. And there it was, real, warm, and inviting, its window filled with handwritten poems and paper lanterns. He stepped in. The scent of old paper, cardamom tea, and a hint of rain greeted him like an old friend. A woman stood behind the counter, humming a familiar tune. Her back was turned, her hair still wild and free. Ayaan's breath caught. "Rhea," he whispered. She turned slowly. For a moment, she didn't react. Then her lips curled into the softest, saddest smile. "You finally came." Ayaan's voice was hoarse. "I wasn't sure if it was you." "It's always been me," she replied. "I waited. For a long time. Then I stopped waiting. But I never stopped writing." They sat by the window, a pot of chai steaming between them. The rain began to tap against the glass, shy and hesitant, like the words they struggled to find. "I thought you hated me," Ayaan said. "I did," Rhea replied. "But mostly, I missed you." "Why the letter now?" "Because the bookstore turns 10 this week. And I wanted closure. Or maybe a miracle." Ayaan looked around. The place was filled with her soul, her dreams, her love. "You built all this? Every shelf. Every poem. Every cup of tea." They spent hours talking, about what they'd done, who they'd become. She had stayed in Dharmapur, taught at the local school, and opened this place with money saved from 1,000 tutoring sessions. He told her about his articles, his failed engagement, and the award he won that didn't feel like victory. "You were the best thing I never wrote about," he confessed. She laughed, and it sounded like forgiveness. "You still speak in headlines." By evening, the sky had turned orange and purple. Rhea took him to the rooftop where they once watched sunsets and made promises under the stars. "Remember this view?" she asked. "I never forgot," he said. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a folded paper. It was a list they'd made when they were 17. "Things We'll Do Someday," it was titled. Most of the items were crossed out. Only one remained untouched. Number 13, Dance in the Rain on Sunset Lane. As if summoned by destiny, the rain returned, heavier now, wild and untamed. Rhea looked at him, her eyes challenging. One last item, Ayaan. He hesitated only a moment before standing and offering his hand. She took it. They ran down the stairs, out the door, and into the rain. The lane was empty, lit by the soft glow of old lamps and lightning. Music spilled from a nearby house. They didn't know the tune, but it didn't matter. They danced. Clumsy, laughing, slipping in puddles and soaked to the bone. For a moment, they were 17 again, weightless, fearless, timeless. And then, as the rain slowed and their laughter faded, he kissed her. It wasn't a kiss of apology or even one of reunion. It was a kiss of continuation, of a story paused, not ended. The next morning, Dharmapur woke to find Chapter and Chai had added a new poem to its window. Some loves are bookmarks. They never close the book. They wait, patiently, between the pages of time. Ayaan stayed. Not just that week, or that month, but for good. He wrote for local magazines, started a blog about small towns and big hearts, and helped Rhea expand the cafe. They turned the rooftop into a poetry garden, held open mics under fairy lights, and brewed a new kind of love, slow, rooted, and real. Years later, when asked how they found each other again, Rhea would smile and say, "I never sent the letter expecting anything. But Sunset Lane remembers." And love, like jasmine and old bookstores, has a way of returning when it's meant to. Did this story touch your heart? Let the echoes of Sunset Lane live on. Sunrise, like, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Love for more soulful stories. Sparkles, drop a comment. Have you ever returned to a place or person and found something waiting? Let's talk where the stories begin again. Two hearts.